News alert, high-stakes election not over yet. Republican Troy Balderson, Democrat Danny O'Connor is too close to call. The slim margin in a deeply red district, central Ohio, could trigger a recount. So what does it tell us about the midterms, if anything, now less than 3 months away? Here's the RNC chairwoman, Ronna McDaniel, a bit earlier today on America's Newsroom.
We won last night. We won the majority of these specials. Look at Arizona, look at Montana with Gianforte, look at Karen Handel in Georgia. And the media descends on these races, and they give a home court advantage to the Democrats because they get outsized attention, they get outside funding. That's not going to be the case in November when we're battling across the country.
Kristen Fisher live this morning in Columbus, Ohio. Late night last night. Kristen, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill. Well, these two candidates are just 1,700 votes apart, and there are still about 8,000 provisional and absentee votes to be counted. So if that margin shrinks to just under half a percentage point, that would trigger an automatic recount. So this race not over yet, even though both President Trump and Troy Balderson declared victory last night.
America is on the right path, and we're going to keep it going that way. Over the next 3 months, I'm going to do everything I can to keep America great again.
Well, notice he said the next 3 months because these two candidates have to face off again in November. So much has been made of President Trump's support for Balderson. Will it help him? Will it hurt him? In the end, it's looking like it probably helped him get just enough, especially in Delaware County where President Trump held that rally on Saturday, to give him the slight lead he now holds. But bigger picture, this is a race that shouldn't have even been close and that had Democrat Danny O'Connor claiming his own kind of victory last night.
Can you believe how close this is? We are in a tie ball game, and you made this possible. The grassroots individuals who've been knocking on doors, fighting for the future of our country.
And so Democrats are going to say, you know, the fact that this race is so close spells great things for them heading into the midterms, Bill.
Kristen Fisher, thanks, live in Columbus today. Sandra's got more now.
For more on all this, let's bring in author of The Deep State, former Congressman Jason Chaffetz, also a Fox News contributor. Jason, good to see you this morning. Your thoughts on the big night last night, and it continues on into the morning here.
Look, at the end of the day, there's still going to probably be a recount, but I think it's good for what it wasn't if you're a Republican. There was no big blue wave that was going to, this tsunami that was going to come crashing down on this congressional district. And if you compare that into 2010, when literally dozens and dozens and dozens of seats were moving into Republican hands, you just don't see that with the Democrats.
What about the fact that it was so close, though, in Ohio, and the president stepped in, obviously endorsed the Republican candidate there, and that obviously made a difference. The president's taking credit for that, but it was close.
The president should take credit for that. I think he pushed it up and over the top. I think it's a message, too. If you're running as a Republican in November and you're not embracing the Trump agenda, you're going to have some problems. I think the highlight of the night actually was in Michigan. John James is an amazing candidate. I think Debbie Stabenow now is really going to have some problems up there in Michigan. But all of this is partially eclipsed by this news of Chris Collins under indictment.
Yeah, we'll have much more on that coming up at that press conference in the noon hour. Ronna McDaniel, chairwoman of the RNC, was on with us earlier and said as much in different words. Watch.
President Trump is the antidote to Republican complacency, because when he comes and says, let's look at the results of my presidency, the economy is doing well, unemployment is down, people are doing better, they have more money, we have to fight for that, and I need more Republicans in Washington so we can do that. The Democrats are doubling down on obstruct and resist, and that's not a winning message.
And the president tweets this out this morning, 545 exclamation mark.
It's true. You just don't see the blue wave that the Democrats promised. They don't have any national leaders. But
it's not the red wave either that the president has suggested.
But historically, in an off year after a president's elected, almost always goes the direction of the opposing party. And that's what you don't see. They don't have a national leader. They're still having a discussion as to whether or not to run away from Nancy Pelosi, and they should run away from her. Chuck Schumer. What is their message? If you really sit back, it's about resistance. Yeah. It's just about the resistance movement and say no to everything. They don't have a positive economic message that's going to resonate.
You mentioned this news on Congressman Collins. Obviously, we're waiting on this press conference where they will announce these charges against him, insider trading charges when it comes to an Australian biotech company.
Right.
His son is involved, his son's fiance's father involved. He's denying the charges against him. Wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Look, I'm friends with him. I hope it's not true, but I think the discussion that's happening like right now behind the scenes, having seen this played out before, should he or should he not step down immediately? You have a very short window in order to get somebody else into that seat.
What's the answer?
I think he should. You know, if there's, why put the party through all of this and the voters through all of this? I mean, I see these people try to fight it and make their case and say, hey, I'm innocent until proven guilty. But you have a very short window to put another candidate into place. It is a safe Republican seat. And I know I like Chris Collins. Like I said, I'm friends with him, and I hope it's not true. But you got to really, by the end of the week, make a decision as to whether or not somebody should take that role.
On the board of this company. He's expected to react at that press conference in the noon hour. But you referenced it back when we were talking about last night in these races. And were you suggesting that this could be a distraction for your party?
It is. It will eclipse things, and it's one more seat that is now in a vulnerable category that was a for sure Republican seat, and it is a distraction, and, you know, it'll play out in court. And here we're having a press conference about that instead of talking about somebody like a John James who's going to have a really good race.
Finally, if you could for me characterize what last night and the results that we still see coming in, what it all says about November.
It means that there's no big blue tsunami that's out there. Democrats don't have national leadership. If you look at the gentlewoman who ran and won here in New York, every single person that she supported lost.
Ocasio-Cortez?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jason Chaffetz, great to have you on this morning in studio. Thank you very much, Bill.
Also.